Shalom, shalom. I want to start off this video by saying, Call Halayim La Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of the great millstone that rule well and teach well, where I learn is truth, do 100% truth according to the Bible. Also want to say shalom to the Lord's elect, the 144,000, the men, prophets, servants, scattered abroad the four winds of the earth. And shalom as well to you sincere believers out there that believe in the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy. Shalom. And in today's video, I'm going to title it Uproars of the People. And I'm going to be titling today's video that, building off of this article that I got here, as you can see pulled up on the screen from End Time Headlines. And it says, residents burn an Ebola treatment center in Congo as anger grows over the outbreak. Right, so you basically got this going on in Africa, right, where they're basically out there, burning, centers and things like that due to this spread of, this new Ebola strand that they've been talking about for the last week or so, but all of these are ultimately signs of the times that we're in. That's why you see these various different things going on, So I'm reading to this article, and then I'll grab a few scriptures, and Lord's willing, it's edifying to you brothers and you sisters out there that may come across it. But it says, according to a report from the Associated Press, people set fire to an Ebola treatment center in Rwampara, a town at the epicenter of the outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo on Thursday. As tensions boiled over a health crisis, authorities are fighting to control. The arson attack came after local youths were blocked from retrieving the body of a friend who had apparently died from the virus. Gunshots rang out nearby as residents chased and assaulted a white four-wheel drive vehicle commonly used by aid groups. Aid workers fled the scene while some broke into the center, setting fire to objects inside and what appeared to be at least one suspected Ebola victim's body. The police intervened to try to calm the situation, but unfortunately they were unsuccessful, said Alexis Barada, a local student who was in the area. The young people ended up setting fire to the center. That's the situation. The incident highlights deep challenges facing health workers. Strict protocols for handling highly contagious Ebola bodies clash with traditional burial customs, often sparking resistance from grieving families. Bodies of Ebola victims remain infectious, and unsafe burials have fueled past outbreaks. Deputy Senior, Commissioner John Claude McKindy, head of public security in Ituri province, noted the youth did not grasp the protocols. His family, friends, and other young people wanted to take his body home for a funeral, even though the instructions from the authorities during this Ebola virus outbreak are clear. McKindy said all bodies must be buried according to the regulations. Congolese authorities reported 160 suspected deletions and 671 suspected cases across the two provinces as of Thursday. The WHO, has warned the true scale is likely much larger and expressed alarm over the rapid spread of this Bundibugyo strain of Ebola, for which no approved, vaccine or specific treatment yet exists. The outbreak began weeks earlier, spreading undetected after the first known deletion in late April. The crisis is unfolding in a region plagued by armed conflict, weak health infrastructure, and massive displacement. With over 920,000 internally displaced people in Ituri province alone, a new case was confirmed in South Kivu province on Thursday, marking further geographic expansion, So as I just read from the article, you got this Ebola strand that they're talking about, is constantly spreading throughout the Congo, and you got people over there basically, uproaring because of it, As I just read in the article, the Hamite over there was trying to basically, bury his family member that perished of the sickness, but they wouldn't allow him to. So they wanted to, burning the facility down and things like that, but ultimately, like I said, all of these things are occurring because, we're in the time of the end, man. And that's why you got all of these various different things occurring, Let me grab 2nd Esdras chapter 9, and I'll start at verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, right? And how do you measure the time diligently? You look at the scriptures, you see what the prophecies say, and you aligning it with what you see happening in the earth, right? And we see that everything that our Lord Yahushua, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls JC, of what he warned and said will be happening in the latter days, ultimately leading up to the end of this world, this age, we see those things happening, right? The earthquakes in diverse places, the perplexity in the earth of the people. I mean, the wars, rumors of wars, we're seeing all these things go on. The pestilence is spreading, right? So it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past, which I have told thee before. Verse 2, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And that's the time we in now, man, of the Lord visiting this earth, right? That's why you see all of these things going on. That's why you got these pestilences that are constantly spreading, things getting worse. You see, the Lord is visiting this earth, man, right? And ultimately, everything that we see occurring is ultimately going to lead to the coming of our Lord Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, man, right? Because that's what everything we see going on in the earth is going to lead to, his coming, right? Verse 3, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes, right, you got these things going on in diverse places all throughout the earth, right? You just had over 300 plus earthquakes that occurred in 2 days in Southern California. This happened, I believe, last week or the week before. I actually did a video on it, but you had over almost, I believe it was close to almost 400 earthquakes that occurred in just a 48-hour period, man. And that's not even including all the other earthquakes that you have going on in different parts of the world. So, hey, we're seeing all of these things take place, man. You see? Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, right? That's what you got going on. Uproars of the people, man. Protests, right? You got people here in Babylon the Great protesting over everything that's going on in this place, right? You got people in these other countries protesting due to these wars that are going on, right? You got all of these things going on, man, right? Uproars of the people in the world. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Yeah, all of these things that we see ultimately happening now, all these things were already declared in the beginning, right? As it tells you in Isaiah the 46th chapter, in verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying my counsel shall stand, and I would do all my pleasure. And that's exactly what we're seeing play out here in these times, the counsel of the Lord, right? Everything that's happening is all going according to Bible prophecy, man. That's what we're seeing play out, you see. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world have an end and a beginning, right? For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And that's where we're at, man, right? That's why you see all of these various things happening in the world, man. You know, these things are not happening by coincidence like most people would like to believe, right? Because most of these people, they see everything that's going on as far as with the uproars, people bugging out, you know, things getting worse here in America and throughout the world, these economies crashing and things just, you know, getting worse. People see it, but they don't think that ultimately we're at the end, right, of this rulership, the end of, you know, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man who's the wicked that the Bible tells us about, who's ruling the earth, right? Because it tells you in Job 9:24 that the earth is given over into the hand of the wicked, and he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If so, where and who is he? And we know that to be the so-called white man, and he's the one that's ruling the earth. But guess what? The time of him ruling things in the earth is coming to its end, right? And we see that clear as day through everything that's going on, man. Right, through everything that's going on, all of these things are all indicators that Esau, Edom's, you know, reign of wickedness in the earth is coming to an end, man. Right, as it tells you in 2nd Esdras chapter 6. Right, and I'll go to verse 7. Then answered I said, what shall be the pardon asunder of the times, and when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? Verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Right? Verse 9, for Esau, the so-called white man, it's the end of the world, right? The end of this age. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And this is exactly what we're seeing play out here now, man. We're watching Esau's world, right? His age, his rulership, his kingdom come to an end, right? And what's ultimately going to be brought in after Esau's kingdom is brought down and destroyed, ultimately? The kingdom of Jacob, man, that's ultimately going to be ran by the Israelites, right? The kingdom of heaven, which will be established here on the earth. That's what's coming next after all of this, you know, wickedness is put out ultimately. You see, that's what everything is leading to. You see, a righteous kingdom that will, you know, be established here on the earth that's going to be everlasting, right? As it tells you in the book of Daniel's, right? The 2nd chapter, which I'm bringing that out real quick. Daniel chapter 2, and I'll go to verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. That's what's coming, right? After Esau's wicked rulership is brought down, right? Ultimately, guess what? The kingdom of heaven is coming. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever, right? So that's what's coming, man. Everlasting and immortal kingdom, right? So, that's why we see all of these various things throughout the world happening, man, because, hey, we're at the end of this age, right? And things are only going to get worse, you see, ultimately till the kingdom comes, right? So with that being said, Lord's willing, I pray this video be edifying. Just a quick hit through the spirit. With that being said, I'm going to end it by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kudash. Till the next time, Kwam Yasharal, and Shalom to the Lord's elect. Shalom.